my home. Today I'm going to be reading to you from Usborne Illustrated Fables from around the world. And the story I'm going to be reading is Anansi and the Box of Stories.
Anansi stories are trickster folk tales from the Ashanti and the Akan people in Ghana. From there, the stories spread through West Africa and to the Caribbean. Anansi and the Box of Stories. Anansi the Spider was a trickster. Cunning and crafty, he could weave with words as well as with webs. So when he looked at the world, he knew that something was missing. Stories. Not the stories he spun, full of fantastic lies and clever deceits, but stories to be told around a fire to ward off the darkness at night. Stories to spark the imagination and breathe life into the unknown. To be told to children before they fell asleep, and then to be passed on from father to son and mother to daughter, and on and on and on. And where were all these stories? Anansi knew full well where they were, with Nyame, the sky god, locked in a wooden box. But would Nyame give the box to people? Never. He guarded it like a hawk and never let it far from his reach. Many had tried before, and all had failed. If Anansi were to win over that brimming box of stories, he was going to have to use all of his cunning. He couldn't wait. Anansi began to spin a great long thread, as long and strong as the rivers that roared through the forest. He made it reach all the way to the sky, and then on 8 grasping legs he scampered up and up until he reached the heavens. "O Nyame," said Anansi, bowing low before the sky god, "I have come for the box of stories. Would you be so gracious as to give it to me?" Nyame's whole body rocked with laughter. "Oh, Anansi," he mocked, "only you would be bold and brave enough to ask for it. But my answer, of course, is no." "But you must have a price," replied Anansi. "Everyone has a price. What is yours?" Nyame was silent for a while, delighting in thinking up impossible requests that were sure to defeat the spider. "Ooh, that's a good one," he thought, and then, "Oh, yes, that is even better." "Are you absolutely sure you want to know my price?" asked Nyame. "I'm sure," said Anansi. "Many have tried," warned Nyame. "All have failed. These are hard tasks for a little spider." Anansi was not so easily scared. "Name your price," he insisted. "Very well," said Nyame. "Bring me Onini the python, Osibo the leopard, and Mboro the hive of hornets. And let me see, one more I think. Ah, yes, Mosha. Then and only then will the box be yours." "Mosha?" stuttered Anansi, his 8 legs trembling. In all of Africa, everyone feared Onini, who could squeeze the life from a crocodile. People dreaded meeting Osibo, whose claws were sharper than knives, and Mboro, whose stings burned hotter than the sun. But no one was feared more than Mosha, the invisible, bad-tempered spirit of the forest. "But I'll do it," Anansi swore. "I can succeed where others fail. I can be the one to unlock the box of stories." So Anansi slid back down the thread, all the way down to earth, plotting and planning as he went. First, he decided it was the turn of Onini the python. Early the next morning, Anansi headed for the forest, a long stick clutched in his claws. He scuttled under the biggest tree of them all, and beneath its swaying branches he began to talk to himself. "I know I'm right," he muttered. "I know I am. He is much longer than this stick. Why will no one believe me?" A long, lithe body uncoiled itself from the branch above and slithered down until it was head-high with Anansi. "Sssss," said Onini the python. "What is this? You are talking about Anansi, and you have woken me from my slumbers. How dare you?" "Onini, I am so sorry," groveled Anansi. "I didn't see you there. I have been telling everyone how long you are, how you are the longest and greatest snake in the forest. I've said you are even longer than this huge stick, but not a single animal will believe me." "Fools," said the snake, "this is easily sorted. Let me lay myself out along the ground. Then I will prove that I am the greatest. I will make this stick look like nothing more than a twig beside me." Then the great Onini slid down from the tree and stretched himself out alongside the stick. Anansi worked like lightning, darting this way and that, spinning his silken thread around the python until he was trapped fast against the stick. "What trick is this?" hissed Onini angrily, trying to thrash his body free from the thread, but nothing could break Anansi's web. "Ha!" said Anansi. "Now come with me." And he carried Onini up into the sky and presented him with a flourish to Niame. The sky god looked on haughtily. "I'm not worried, little spider," he declared. "You still have the leopard and the hornets to catch, and of course, Emosha." Anansi spun himself down from the sky and spent the day wrapped in thought. He had captured Onini by playing on his pride. Surely he could do the same with Osibo the leopard. The next day, Anansi waltzed over to where the sleek leopard was sunning himself on a large flat rock. Anansi had a sack slung over his shoulder, and yet again he was talking to himself. "Leopard will never manage it. I told them once, I told them twice. He could never ever do it, but would they believe me? No, they would not." "What's this, Anansi?" said Osibo, yawning and stretching himself out to his full length. Anansi caught a glimpse of Osibo's long, knife-like claws, unsheathed and glinting in the sun. They would cut him in two in a moment, he knew, but he bravely carried on. "I was talking to the other animals in the forest. I was saying how clever and cunning you are, but how even you couldn't squeeze yourself into this sack, but everyone else seemed to think you could." "Ha!" said Osibo. "Let me prove you wrong. Hold open that sack and I'll be inside in the blink of an eye." Suppressing his smile, Anansi held open the sack. Osibo leaped inside and Anansi bound it shut with his silken threads. Osibo kicked and clawed and squirmed, but there was nothing he could do to break free from the sack. "You trickster!" Osibo cried. "I should have known better than to trust a spider." "So you should," said Anansi, "but it's too late now." And once again he strung his threads up to the sky and presented Osibo to the sky god. "Two more to go," said Niame. "That box of stories is still far from being yours." And Anansi knew it. Now he had to trap a hive of stinging hornets and carry them up to the sky. How was he going to do that? After 2 nights of plotting and planning, Anansi could be found with a large gourd full of water and a plantain leaf standing beneath the hornets' hives. They were buzzing furiously. Anansi thought for a moment of their poker-hot stings, and then he thought of the box of stories brimming with unspoken words. He scuttled up the branch above the hornet's nest and poured the water from the gourd all over it. Then he scuttled down again, a dripping plantain leaf perched upon his head. "What's this?" cried the hornets angrily. "It's not the rainy season. Where has this water come from?" "Oh, Imboro," said Anansi, "I thought you would not be prepared for this sudden downpour. Look, I have come with a gourd so that you may take shelter inside it." "Thank you," said the hornets, and they buzzed out of their hive and into the gourd. As soon as the last one had passed through the opening, Anansi placed the plantain leaf over the hole and bound it on with his strongest silk. Then he went up to the sky god, the gourd thrumming angrily with a mass of furious hornets. Said Niame. "And still I'm not worried, for as we all know, Emosha will be the hardest of all to catch." Anansi did know this, and he spent many days and nights pondering the problem, how to trap something he couldn't even see. At last he came up with a plan. He carved a little wooden doll and covered it with sticky sap from a gum tree. Then he went and hid it deep in the forest in the place he knew Emosha loved to be. And then he chose a hiding place beneath a canopy of leaves, and he watched, and he waited. There was a rustling of leaves, but nothing to be seen. The rustling grew louder and came closer. Anansi felt a brush of wind against his cheek, and then he heard a voice, the voice of Emosha. "Why won't you talk to me?" the voice hissed. Anansi whipped around. Was Emosha talking to him? Then the voice came again. "How dare you be so rude?" With relief, Anansi realized his trick was working, and Moshe was talking to the wooden doll. "I said, speak to me!" shrieked Emosha. And at that moment, Anansi saw the doll's head move. Something, or rather someone, had touched it, and whoever had touched it was clearly stuck to it. "What's going on?" said Emosha. Now the whole doll was moving. It looked like Emosha had both hands stuck to it. Anansi leaped from his hiding place and strung his spider silk around Emosha and the doll as hard and fast as he could, until he had wrapped her into a cocoon. "Let me go! Let me go!" cried the furious Emosha. "Never!" cried Anansi, "for now I will have paid my price." He tucked Emosha under one of his arms and slid, whooping with joy, up to the sky god on his skein of silk. "So you have done it," said Niami, "and the sky god is not one to break his word." He handed over the box of stories, and Anansi took it with him all the way back to Earth. He looked at it for a moment. It was nothing but a carved wooden box, no different from any other box. What would lie inside? He flipped open the lid with one of his legs, and out spilled the stories, word upon word, filling the air with their hum. They spun out and beyond to the ears of men, and Anansi knew nothing would ever be the same again. He had given stories to the world.